And what I like about it is it allows me to attack left or right, either side, up or down. I don't have to worry about what side somebody's standing on. I can find an opening on a shield either way. I prefer right-handed sword and shield guys to fight against because it's the easiest thing to fight against when you're fighting Florentine. Most of the kills will come from your left hand. If you're a righty, left hand your backhand, and it will come from left-handed body shots. And it works really, it's really pretty effective. It doesn't take a lot of horsepower, so it use a lot of body technique. So I don't believe in using the arm as a slash and chop. It's more of a punching that comes out of the body and off the legs. So all my strength comes from my thighs, my calves, and through the hips. Don't really do a lot of arm stuff. You'll wear out pretty quickly. It requires a bit of physical agility and moving. Not the best static style there is. You got to move around a bit, especially forward and backward. I basically use a style that has 8 directions. So if you drew 2 crosses on the ground, here and then here, you've got the 8 directions of movement. You can only move on this plane of resistance in 8 directions, unless you can either jump straight up in the air about 6 feet or drop down and do a sweep, which they don't usually let us do. You can move 8 directions. You can move forward, back, you can go this way, you can go this way, or retreat the same way in either angle. It's pretty much all you can do. Can't go anyplace else. You have no place to go. So, and also, when fighting somebody else, they have to attack you along the same lines. Guys and guys weave around and walk and dance and do ballet all day, and all I do is just this. Because sooner or later, they've got to approach me. Sooner they've got to, if they want to fight, if they want to try to kill me, they've got to get in sword range. So if they're sitting out there dancing and doing all kinds of stuff, I'll just sit and watch and say, I'll give you 6.5 points for that one, it was very nice, but I'm not going to go out of my way to chase them down. Unless everybody's feeling froggy and I want to do it because it's fun. But if I want to win a fight, I'm just going to relax and let them come to me. I like counterattacking. The reason I use the relatively short swords is the short sword is an infantryman's weapon. Okay? The really big, long swords were horsemen's weapons in history. There weren't very many armies that marched out in the field with 40-inch swords and a shield on foot. They didn't have to. The footman's weapon, spear and a falchion, the short sword for the Romans, the Greeks, tended to use a short sword with a heavy tip for chopping and thrusting. It wasn't really the big long one, because if you get into a press and everybody's crushed face to face, the long sword loses a lot of its advantage. Because when you try to throw it, the long sword speed comes at the tip, not at the back. The short one, you can punch straight across the face. I don't recommend it too often to your friends because you won't have it anymore. So, for instance, let me borrow the bug. Oh, and come here, I just need to borrow it for a second. I just needed a body stand, but I wasn't going to do anything with you.
No. Go ahead.
Nice technique. If you get a guy in close, okay,
Turn sideways.
especially if he hasn't called himself,
Oh.
I wouldn't say it ever happens.
Oh, move over.
So one thing you can do generally with a short sword that's kind of effective is this. You can punch right along the jawline of the helmet at the very base. That'll rattle a guy's world hard enough that he's going to call it no matter what. Okay, I don't use that unless somebody's really been dense. He never is, but just in case. That's something when you get in tight, you can just turn the fist over, just like you do in a reverse punch, and right across the chops. It's always nice. I don't like it. Yeah, like Michael of Bedford.
Exactly.
I didn't bring my Bedfords. I have a set of swords called Mikeys, and they have the little Mikey emblem that says, Mikey, just call it. But they're 3 inches in diameter. They're round. They didn't trim 3 inches in there, and they really hurt. So I don't use those on regular people. I guess they're Mikey. But that's not a nice story. I like to use a direct style of cutting. Okay? The laws of physics are hard to break. And I know people say if you have a really long sword, and you throw that long sword, the tip is going to move faster than the short sword. That's in a theoretical world. If you had a machine of unlimited power, and you stuck a sword in it, and it can swing that 5-foot sword as long as a 2-foot sword, yes, the tip will be moving faster. The problem is human beings aren't machines. I can't throw a 5-foot sword as fast as I can throw a 2-foot sword, so I don't really care what the laws of physics say. We were at Penzance one year, and they had a test. They put a bowling ball on a peg, and they had people hit it and see who went out. Well, Jerome went out there and put it in the heavy end every time. I stepped up one, and it went excessive. They go, that's impossible. Okay, it's your test. We were in my life. I just hit it. Well, do it again. I hit into the excessive line. It was beyond excessive every time. One thing is, 2-foot rattan doesn't bend, which means I lose nothing to flex. So when I hit something, the sword doesn't give. It just soaks the energy right into the guy that you're hitting. So there's no bend and give, and there's no whip. By the same token, if I do that, I can't whip around the sword and get hit with a cheap 5-foot sword of a twig, but that's another story. So you can throw a lot of power in a short sword. I can also, the other law of physics you can't defeat, No matter how fast you travel, if you travel twice the distance, it takes you twice as long. So if you're going to do a lot of this business, yeah, you can do that if you like, but I won't be there when you throw it. When you throw that shot, I'm just going to go flick, and when you throw that, you're going to want to go, oh, why did that hurt so bad? Because your sword was going really, really fast, but it was coming from here. Like Sir Taka said, the eyes are we have binocular vision. Human beings are binocular. We see things in an arc much better than we do coming straight at us. The straight shots are the hard ones to block. So, other than just the thrust, shots like this are tougher to block than this. The other thing is the windup. There's no windup. We were at a practice. We had a practice a couple of weeks ago at the school, and a lot of the guys that do kingdom style fighting came in with big long couples of rapiers and centric rounds. Now, I don't know what part of history that was when they finished with rapiers and centric rounds, but whatever. I don't care. I'm old. I can be obnoxious. But they were doing a lot of this with a big windup. Well, as soon as I see that shoulder even move, I close. Because I got a shorter weapon, I want to be right. Where I like to fight is here. I like to be nice inside and tight. Longsword at that distance has trouble. So you want to try to close, but to close depends on footwork. If we're here and I try to march in, they're not going to really let me. So what you do is you wait for the blow to start. And then from here, it's you press. You jump off the back foot and you here. And then you close. By the time you're throwing your shot, you're already in. If they try to bring the shield up to fight this one's the one that hits them. My favorite combination is either a thrust or a cut with the right hand. And I wait for the wrap because I know it's coming. Because, oh, I can throw that wrap around his back, it's going to get in. So what I do is I throw this here, he throws the wrap here. And then I get both of them. By that time the combination's roll. And I had a lot of guys try that, throwing that big wide step out and long looping wrap. And I know it's coming, so all I'm going to do is this. Here, and I let it roll. Now, he can only cover so much without a shield that isn't 4 feet wide. Not picking on him, but it's just reality. So, I definitely hope so. You say the secret word, that's going to come down to $100. I like to do either this to bring that shield up. Right. So I do is this. Here, I catch the belly, and here's where my sword is. Now, if he wants to throw, all he's got is this. There's nothing else. As soon as he throws that, I come back. I want to draw his attack. I'd rather use a counterattacking game, but if I want to suck him in, if he's just standing and hiding behind the door, I'm going to try to get him out to make him throw that shot. Once I get really close, he runs out of blows. All he's got is a wrap. Once we're locked up here, like this, really not much work with the wrap. That cross shot's not that strong from there. It's just a windshield wiper. In reality, if we were using a real sword against armor, this, with your wrist opposite, you may get guys to call it because they're nice, but they shouldn't. Because I want to see anybody do this, except for Bellatrix. And hope your Bellatrix do that and make you see stars. But anybody else, for the most part, it's not going to happen. I don't know how he does that. With this 5'2" thick sword, he just goes, bink! Now, if you have some distance, you can get some power. But when you're this tight here, and you're from here, this just isn't much of a shot. It's not too strong. So I don't really worry about that back shot in close. All I want to do is lock him up long enough for me to get here. And I can use that to block. Now, he's going to try to come around here, here, or here. Yep. He's got a wrap. He hasn't got really a straight shot. He's going to either throw the big scorpion, which another shot that never existed in history, because this isn't going to do much to a shield, to a helmet. It really won't. It'll scratch and paint. The wrap shot that I like, if you want to throw one, is this. Where you come around, I can't go, I'll just show it. You come around here, and then you cock your body back and go snap.
Yeah.
Just put your shield on, hit the edge of the shield. It's this. You come around from here and you cock it back. Because what happens is, I don't have a guard, it's like, if you just do this, the reality is with the back edge of your sword, just going like this, it'll make a noise, it'll ting, and you'll know, yeah, it's a blow. But how much damage would you have done, even in chain, over leather, and a helmet, if you just went like this? But if you step in and you come here and you go snap, and you catch me at the base of the skull, the back of the neck, you'll hit that cervical vertebrae, even through chain, go, yeah, that was great, and you hurt them. All you're going to do most of a chain and a sword, would be sort of indirectly fighting in chain over leather, and the bassinet, an open face helmet, is you would cause damage by breaking bones or damaging the muscle to a point where it can't be used anymore. And that's what we're doing. We're fighting with clubs. So I'm not worried about cutting through the chainmail, because it's very hard to do. If you guys hit a double riveted chain, a medieval sword is not going to cut through it. It just isn't going to happen. But you can hit it hard enough where the muscles get damaged and the arms get hurt and they start to sting. Or you catch the spine of the back and the back of the neck and you can hurt them. But you got to generate a lot of power. You can't just sit there and go flick and say that was good. Okay, that's good, if you think so. Put on real armor and take it and see what you can do if you just go flick. See how much damage you really do to a guy that's out to kill you and he's got a broadsword and you're going flick. That's the karate tournaments. Hey, the point is beautiful. Then you run away and tap you in the top of your head and call it a point. Instead of going that way, I just like to constantly deliver power. Enough power that when somebody gets hit, they go, yeah, it's good, it's good. Take it. Also, at some point, and I think Taco was kind of getting into this, the shield can be my shield as well. Okay? That's not his, but we're sharing it. That's right. I like his shield, share it very nicely. So if I slide off to one side to here, he's got to get around his own shield. It's not just me getting around it, he has to get around it. So I can force him to move and have to cut around the shield. The bigger it is, the better I like it. If he's got a door that goes from here to his ankles, I couldn't care less. But he'll be blind before I am. I can see him. Once that shield starts to move up, he can't see anybody. So I wouldn't really, they put them up against the block us and they form a circle, and two of us just sit there running around a circle, tapping the shield. They didn't know only two of us there, tap, tap, tap. They didn't know there's only two of us there doing nothing. So you can use that as a weapon. It's my weapon. I have two swords in a shield. He has one sword in a shield. So it gives me a little bit of an edge. The other thing is when you learn how to really throw these shots, you can fire off both sides. You don't have to be left or right-handed. I like using, I'm right-handed, I like my right hand forward and my left leg forward because it gives me a little more power and it gives me a little better finesse with my strong hand up front. My power hand, just like with the Japanese sword, the power hand is your backhand, the control hand is your front hand. So if I'm going to shoot for little finesse slot shots, I want my right hand in front. When I get the opening, I just want to drop something on his hips to where he goes, oh God, that hurt. I'm going to use my left hand. I'll usually use a little heavier chopping sword in the left and a faster sword with the thrusting hit in my right. Because this has more control for the tip. So I get a little bit more finesse, and also, if I throw the face shot, I have more ability to bounce back and give it up if I think it's too hard. So when I feel something I like, I just release and let my arm go. My right hand's a little faster and a little bit more deft, so I can get rid of it before I hurt somebody. Because I don't want it, but somebody can step into a thrust, no matter how much you mean to go, light little tap, they step up on you, you didn't expect it, and it could be nasty and catch them in the jaw and snap back the neck. So as soon as I feel contact, this hand's a little quicker, dropping and getting out of the way. No matter how stiff somebody is, injuring somebody is not the point. If they get to a point where they just won't call anything, you say, thank you, obviously today was your day, you're more than vulnerable, I can't beat you, and give them the fight. It's better than trying to go out there and say, I'm going to get this guy and I'm going to break something on him. I heard that, I felt that, I wanted to do that, and except for that, I'd never do that. What I try for in my blows are a very select series of movements. They don't have to be flashy, you don't need a lot of blows. What you need to do is be very good at the blows you have. So, my basic shot with this hand, just like you would with a regular sword, I twist my foot, snap, and I pull it back. I twist my foot and snap, pull it back. I want a cross shot, I twist my foot, flatten it, and bring it back. That's most of what my backhand does. Simple snapshot. Don't have to get that fancy. I can throw kind of a wrap to the body with it or ribs if I want to. But I use the power coming up from the ground. And the foot's like you're stepping out a cigarette. Okay? From here, I just turn my foot and turn right into it. I'll let the blow go. Keep your back straight so you can be level. Try to avoid any of this stuff. As soon as you bend over with a 12-pound helmet on your head, you're in big trouble. You can damage your neck, you can damage your back, and if they hit you with your neck's bent over, you can wreck the cervical vertebrae and wind up with all kinds of surgery, which is not good. So keep your body level, erect, flat, and fluid. You want to be able to turn and pivot on the hips, not bend up and down. It's never a good way to move. The front hand has a few more choices. The front hand, obviously the cheapest shot in the world is this. Nothing wrong with it, just because it's cheap, it works. Face thrust is nice. I like using front finger snap from here, side snap from here. I like the Molinet from here around. You can wrap in here. You can do anything you want with the front hand. It can chop straight down for a flat snap. It can cut either direction and down. So it gives you a lot of variety, and you can keep it fairly simple. Again, I very seldom try to step out and throw gigantically long things and stretch my arm. Two bad things can happen. One, they hit you and you lose. And the other thing is you can hyperextend that shoulder or elbow. And if somebody steps in and catches that arm and pulls it, shoulder goes out. Not a good thing when you're 300 years old. No. I'm going to fight the guy straight up, because I believe in a fair fight. I like a clean, straight fight. Once he's jumped down with a big shield, it's murder to kill the guy. So why should I make my job hard just for the fun of hitting him on, doing a tetsuo, hitting him inside the thigh, oh, and drop down and scream? So aside from having the pleasure to see the guy scream and yell and you hit the nerve plexus inside the thigh, it really isn't that great. It's not that useful for you, because you've now taken away his mobility, but so is yours. And if he fights with one knee up and he's up here, he can shove back, he can lay back this way, he can shove forward, and you've got to fight the guy with this big shield covering almost everything. It's not that you can't get him, it just has now taken away a lot of your normal game. I'd rather not. I'd rather fight the guy up on his feet. In practice, I'll usually say, God, take the leg and come back up, just because I don't really feel like wrestling with the guy on the ground. So that's one reason I go for the legs. Arms, don't have a problem with them, but I have a reason. If I don't like what the guy's wearing for arm armor, I won't shoot for them. If I see a guy that doesn't have bicep armor, I don't like the look of his elbow comps, or I think it's really thin, I won't shoot for the arms. Now, I'm not going to sit there and crack a guy's arm just because it was cheap and easy. I have to see if the guy's got decent, at least decent armor on his hands before I start going for arm shots. My favorite shots are there and the helmet. They're the best shots. It's a kill, one shot, I'm done, and I don't have to sit there and wrestle around after. Once I hit the body of the head, the fight's over. If I hit him in the arm, knock, okay, throw my sword away, and now we're fencing. A little tiny short sword, we're fencing. And I usually give him his good arm and let him dump the shield and fight with his good. I won't take his good arm away so he can fight even. But now I've got to fight the guy with the longer sword, maybe with the thrusting, and I got to defense him. I just assume let him keep the arm, and not go, and not worry about it. So if I do take an arm, because you got to do, and I snap the arm, I'll let him toss the shield and fight with his arm at least. And I'll put the other sword behind my back or dump it and fight even up. Again, it's not required, but chivalry is what theoretically our game is about to a great extent. It's about chivalry. It's not just about winning fights. If you have any kind of a career, you will have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of fights. Winning one more or less really isn't all that important, because you're going to have plenty of other fights to win or to lose. It doesn't matter. It's about having a really good time, testing your skill, improving your abilities, and becoming a better fighter. So when you throw down the activity, drop your shield on and fight it one-handed, all you've done is given yourself some practice fighting one-handed. You made yourself better. You got more training in it. That's all, just training about it. We're not fighting for life and death. We're not fighting for hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're fighting for pretty much having fun. So it's not a bad thing to do. So I don't usually even go for the arm. I will if I feel it's the best shot I've got, but because I fight Florentine, I can throw combinations. But by the time I hit the arm, I hit the head and the body at the same time. They don't usually get a chance to switch over. Makes it a little bit easier. Combinations is a very good thing. The reason to have two swords, aside from going left, right, left, and all that, you have the ability to throw multiple strikes and combinations from both hands. So when you start a combination, and I start going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, once I start throwing it, I usually wind up throwing it because it just comes in like that. So by that time, if it hits something, as soon as something drops, they're getting hit 2, 3, 4, it doesn't matter, usually out, and it kind of ends the fight a little bit earlier. Now, the reason I like the 8 directions, I can come in and out and fight from here and go here, 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 and pound at him straight on. But if he's good with the shield and he's using the sword defensively, he can stop me pretty well. He can get you blocked up pretty well. This is one of the situations, 85% of the guys are right-handed in the world, statistic, so I want to go to the sword side. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use one of the other. I'm going to come here and go here and try to throw for the slot. I'm going to shift that way, at that angle. But if it has a center shield, a center grip, I'll sometimes do this. I'll fake this one with the sword here, shield up, you're fighting the shield here, and do that. Center grip, held this way, is a revolving door. How many of these tells you to hold it like that against any pressure in the world is hard. If somebody comes in and punches it, that door will open. A strap shield is hard open. You've got your entire arm. So if he tucks his elbow and doesn't want me to move the shield, he should be able to hold against me, even though he's big. The other thing you can do with a thrusting tip is this. Here, pop it with a thrusting tip. Pop. Cut out here and go from the back. Okay, you can also pop it here And again, with the grip, it'll just open, and I come back to this, back to my old combination. So it's an easier, in one way, a lot of people hold it out, and it can buy you up, but if you don't care about the distance he's trying to buy you off at, because whenever he puts that shield out really far, like the center grip, it also shortens his sword distance on me. He's got to fight behind his own shield, so I can just take a step back and go here. Well, now his shield doesn't help, nothing's helping him. He's got to close. And when he closes, what I'm going to do this, I'm going to close, catch that opening, and come to this side. When he tries to come around the outside, here. It's all a matter of slipping and sliding to the flanks. I'm not always fighting head on. And trying to, when you go to the side, you should have a reason for it. You should already take the advantage. I never step out here until I know that I've taken something away from him. There's something open, unless I try to fight like this, which I don't like to do. So when I step out, it's going to be because I've done something to him. Okay, so put your shield up. I wish I had your center group because it'd be easier to show. If I want to go there, I'm going to do something like this. Now I'll step out to the side and hit here. If he wants to fight, he's got to come all the way around with this sword. All I'm going to stick my arm out, I'm going to catch him. I'm going to catch that sword someplace or another. I'll open him and step sideways. Otherwise, I have up and back, these two, and then these two, if he presses real hard, I can always slip, I can just slip off to a flank and cover the other side. I only do the side to side when I know I've got some kind of advantage or a reason. I've got him tied up someplace or I've got him out of position. Then I'll go wide. Because when you go wide, you expose your left. If I want to step really deep here and I go like this, I'm also exposing my legs. So I don't want to give him that unless I've already tied him up and I've done something like this first. Where I've got his sword in the shield jam, then I can step out. So it's all about footwork, positioning, and body weight. Most shield guys are going to try off the bat, when they see the two little sticks, oh, he's got little swords, he can't hurt me. And they're so small, he can't reach me, so I don't really care. So they're going to step and try to throw the big shot at me. Either a cross shot, usually they won't come in with a straight snap to the flank, so I hold my sword, positioning. Here and here. Now I can goof around and do this and do it. Okay, unless you're Von Helsing, this really is not a good position. Okay, you just jam one of your swords against the other, and unless you say, back, you creature of the night, it really doesn't help you very much. There's no advantage to it. You don't have a good throw up either hand. The backhand can't throw anything because this sword's blocking it. So what do you gain? You're strictly defensive here. You can do this and this. That's about it. The backhand can't do anything. So I'm just sitting hoping that I can. I've seen that really doesn't help. And I've seen it done with long swords, which is even more fun. I love that. Too big doing this, my favorite. Do that all day. Because you can't use your sword. So I can attack, and all you're going to have is this little flick with your fingers. Not that great. I'll come down the slot and stop the first one, and then there won't be a chance for a second one. So this isn't really good. What you want, back foot, heels slightly off the ground, back knee bent. This one right here, straight between the eyes. Because if your eyes let go, you can look around. You can see both sides. It's not really in the way. This one, I'll keep the thrusting tip here, and I'll keep it away from the line of this one. I never let them come to the same line for a reason I'm sure a lot of you will figure out. You press this one, I don't have another one. Here, you can't sweep both. You can try to block one or the other, you can't sweep the pair. So I keep this one down, this one up. What's good about this is if he goes to throw headshots, and I'm here, okay, I don't have to move. Just a little shift of my hip. Here, 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 here. I don't do much. I can afford to be lazy. And when you're 400 years old, that's good. You want to be lazy. You don't want to use a lot. So I'm not going to sit there and go like this and this and this, hacking and chopping. I'm not going to do anything. My sword's going to stay where I want it because I like my sword here. I can do most of what I want from here. He throws a straight face shot, it's already in the way. He throws either side, a slap on either side or a snap shot, here, here, stops pretty much everything. Even if straight down the head, it'll come right down and rain off it. Doesn't matter. Saving my energy. So I keep this up in the middle. This one I'll sometimes keep low because if he's got a big enough shield, the sword, he doesn't really know what this sword really is anymore. This sword may be up or down, he's not really sure. So what I can do is this. Reverse and hit him on the back with this edge and come in here. Again, I'm sliding off that side angle. Okay? So I don't let him see this sword. I'm up here doing this. I've got to throw that. And I come here. And he still can't get a block. He's going to have to come all the way around his body to block that shot. Very hard to do. It's a longer shot. If he doesn't see it coming, he's not even going to waste his time blocking it. He's going to figure this sword is on this side. This sword is on this side, and that's how I'm going to throw it. I'm going to throw here, I'm going to throw here. But I can cross them up. Okay, I can cross my shots over anytime I want. So you keep this one down, and you let it just kind of hang. Now I can do what I want with this. I can go here, and go here. I can come back and throw this one if I want to. I can press this one down and come over the top and hit this on. Or I can change swords from here and go block, pick this one up, and hit there. So it gives me a lot of options. Either side is mine. I don't care. His back, his head, it doesn't make any difference. I can hit with both swords, depending on how I want to move. If I'm tired and I want to get out of the way a little bit, I just back off a little bit, and I watch what he's doing. If I'm a little confused about him, just back off a little bit and watch him. Stay out of his range. I keep my arms down so the blood flows back to them. Because when you start getting tired, you lose blood flow to your arms. You let them sink down and just kind of stand back a little, let your arms flex, shoulders down, loose, and just walk. You sit there and play with them. Keep this in the way so you can't just run in. Kind of gives you enough time to get back into the game. From out here, from distance, does anyone have a longer sword than that?
There.
See the length. It's definitely a longer sword than this one. Or you can see from the other side. It's a longer sword. Okay, so theoretically, he would have the reach advantage. But does he really? Does he really have reach advantage? What's the longest you can? Stretch your arm out and see where the end of your shot is. Okay, there.
I switch my feet.
Okay, even there. He's here. Now, from here, I can hit him from here because I've got the entire width of my chest and my arm ahead of him. So even though his sword is longer, I can hit him from a little further out than he can hit me. It takes a much, much longer sword to be able to outrange you because of the way of the body posture. This is my front hand. So from here, I've really got a range advantage. Here, I can catch him here, I can go, and he really can't hit me because I have trouble hitting me with that. Did you hear that? Nice. It's really hard for him to hit me from that distance. He's got a lot of reach. He's got to step out and reach in. And then when he steps out and throws the big inevitable wrap, this one drops on him, and I don't even worry about it, and I throw my second shot. Because that's all I'm going to do. With this one, I'm going to sit and wait. I'm going to wait. I may throw whatever I want here, and as soon as that comes out, that's where I'm going to go. Right here to hold the sword back. And then when he's got hit that way, I step deep. And then I can hear he's punching here, or I can do a punch like that. Yes.
Can you generate power with your front hand on an opener?
Put your,
Well, I want to watch the body mechanics.
Let's look at the shield. Okay, from here.
Okay.
Just there, or, yeah. You use your body, don't use your arm. If you try to use the biceps, here's the problem. Most arms have a much bigger bicep than a tricep. A bicep is a constrictor. It lifts, it wrestles. The tricep is the extensor, but most people have a little tiny little tricep and a bigger bicep. So if you tighten the arm up, the bicep actually counteracts the tricep and it slows the blow down. It really doesn't help that much. If you learn to be able to throw at the hip and then just throw the tricep in at the last second, and the other thing is the fingers. It's like a cat grabbing a piece of string, okay? And it closes like this. Just with your fingertips, just hold the shell up a second. Just the fingertips. Just fingertips, nothing but fingertips. You can get power. Now, if you add the rest of the body, yeah, you got a lot more stuff. So usually if I throw it, I'm using my legs. I'm going to drive in on my quads. So I'm going to start from here to drive in, just go and hit. I'll get enough power out of that because I'm throwing 230 pounds this way. That's behind the sword. So he's going to have to soak all that up, plus whatever dynamics are in the turn and the twist. So you can get a lot of power that way. It's just a matter of practice. It takes time. Beginners very often can't do that kind of a snap right off the bat with their fingers. But you close one finger at a time, this. And as the fingers close down and the wrist snaps over, you can generate a lot of power. It really does. It just takes a little time to get, like anything else. So yeah, the front hand it's a very good question, can develop power. You can develop with a cross shot the same way as with the straight down or the side. You can leave all the rest of it out other than control, and you can still develop enough power for a decent game. Now, it's not going to be a helm crusher. The power can come out of these little guys. They're really strong enough to do a lot of power and a lot of damage, depending on how thick they are and how stiff they are. I don't like ultra whippy rattan because if it flexes too much, it just doesn't give me a good enough hit. And with the backhand, I'm mainly just dropping it. Again, it's more like a gladius or a falchion. heavy tip, and I just drop it on people so it hits hard. But it's a very good way to fight. When you're blank, you have no ego in the fight. Ego will defeat more fighters than anything else. If you're afraid to try anything because you're afraid to lose, or you're fighting some new guy, and I've known guys who they go to the new guy and go, I can't lose this guy, he's new, I can't lose. Bam, they just slam this guy into the ground. It's like, okay, that was great, you beat nobody. You know, you go to Shine Nowheres, nobody did this. There are 8 unbelted fighters that never fought, and Duke somebody comes up and says, I will win this, and they'll crush these 8 unknown fighters. Okay, great. But take the ego out of your fighting. You're fighting for skill, you're fighting to improve yourself. Anytime you do anything like a martial art, which I guess this is to some extent, the art is about learning to improve yourself, to bring yourself to a higher level, not to beat people up, to bring yourself to a higher level. We're not fighting for real, so nobody's dying. Okay, in case somebody gets up there, nobody's dead. I don't think anybody's been killed yet doing this, so it shouldn't be too bad. You're fighting to improve yourself and to improve your ability. If you go out there thinking, I've got to win this, I've got to win, I can't let this guy beat me, you've beaten yourself halfway already. Because now your mind isn't clear. You're not reacting. Okay, size has nothing to do with winning a fight. It doesn't make anything to do with it. It's the focus, the clarity of your mind, your skill and technique, and how you deal with an opponent. It has nothing to do with who's big. It doesn't make any difference at all. It really doesn't. All that matters is that two sit against the man. I'll say that's confident. Every fight you have, you should be using and say, when this fight's over, I want to be better than I was before the fight. What can I learn from him? What blows is he going to throw that I might not have seen before, and how much better am I going to get when the fight's over? Because then, the next time you fight, you'll be a better fighter. That's the way you really want to approach it. If you approach it from, I can't lose this fight because this guy's my enemy, or this guy's from this other shire, or this guy, you know, I'm a higher ranked fighter than him. He's a man-at-arms, I'm a squire. I can't lose to him, and the knights will think that badly of me. Forget that. You have to fight at a high level in here, in your heart. You fight well. If you fight well enough and clean enough, people will notice you. It's not that you, then it's like, did you remember 3 years ago? He lost to an unbelted fighter. We can't knight him. Forget about it. He's gone. He's done. Get out of here. Okay? It doesn't matter. Become the better person. Become the better martial artist. Become the better fighter. Build your fighting from inside, not outside. Okay? Yes, you do need to do things like weights or push-ups or sit-ups and leg lifts and all that. You actually do need to do that. So having a certain amount of physical conditioning is important. If your body is a wreck, you have to really change. You have to change the way you fight. I wouldn't recommend this style if your legs are bad and you've got no knees. I wouldn't recommend 2 short swords. I really wouldn't, because you need the mobility. You've got to be able to shift side to side. There are other styles you can pick that will give you a better chance of survivability. But if your legs are working, everything else you can get away with, because the back is straight, the body's straight. You're not straining anything, and you should be responding. Anybody have any questions?
Your Grace, for a novice or someone that wants to pick up the style, hell work, what would you recommend? What kind of combinations, what kind of straight shots? What would be that basic hell work to start on to get the foundation?
Basic hell work, I like to have at least one hand with a thrusting tip in front. Backhand doesn't really need one. You can have one or not, doesn't matter. But the base combination is a thrust. You go thrust, cut, cut. So you thrust to the face. As you do, you go to the block, body cut, and then come over with a straight slot shot. An easy shot. And if you want to do just pel work, I start with my right hand. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then left hand 1, 2, 3, 4, and go back and forth till both hands are throwing. You're cutting corners with both hands, using that back foot to turn out, turn in, turn out, turn in. And you do it till you be comfortable. If you can just go bump, 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 and you don't have to have a different count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you can throw 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then with both hands. It's a good way to start. Fairly easy. You start slow. Like anything else you want to learn, start slow till you get the control and feel. Wild, sloppy shots really aren't that great. They don't help you. You miss too much, and it's not a good idea to wild. Just take your time. And just turn that back leg. Turn, 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 turn. Turn, 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 turn. Just use this foot to twist, and it turns your hips in and out of the blow to get more.
Wait, so let's give His Grace a